Welcome to Newsballs, the ill-informed curmudgeon, giving current affairs the biff on the chops it deserves. Probably. This week, Flight MH370, debris found, and finally an end to absurd conspiracy theory speculation as to the whereabouts of the... Yeah, but look at those stone circles. How the fuck did they get there? Oh, I'm telling you, man. Zimbabwe, outraged by senseless violence. No, not you, dickhead. Elton John's not writing a hit theme song about your life. Ah, there we go. Oh, look at his sad face. It turns out it was KGB Special Brew what done it. Litvinenko killed by Chernobyl Char. The Uber taxi service is proving as popular with cab drivers as personal hygiene and witty bonhomie. The Top Gear trio are back, and Ron Jeremy's no longer the biggest prick you can find on the internet. And finally, stop me if you think you've heard this one before, Big Mouth strikes again, hand in glove, and panic. Morrissey sexually assaulted at the airport. Heaven knows he's miserable now. We begin with missing Malaysia Airlines flight MH370. Luggage and aircraft parts have been washed up on the island of Reunion, an idyllic island not far from Mauritius, the kind of place that fat westerners go to get away from it all, whatever the hell that means. Probably like when a dog leaves a room because it can't stand the smell of its own fart. These aircraft parts have now been flown to Toulouse for verification, but early indications suggest that they do belong to the missing aircraft, putting pay to the idea that the CIA somehow remotely landed the plane at a secret airbase and everyone's playing cribbage with Elvis and Bin Laden.
Well, over the last almost 17 months, Aisha, we followed their journey from Kuala Lumpur here to Beijing. We've seen those raw displays of emotion, these outbursts, because people were so frustrated that they weren't getting information, they weren't getting accurate information, they weren't getting timely information from the authorities, from Malaysian Airlines, from the Chinese government here in Beijing. And that frustration is still felt very acutely here right now. They're not hearing about anything through official channels. They're not being notified before the press is being notified. They're finding out about this by watching the news and reading reports online.
It's an ongoing theme in this tragedy. The victim's family have been starved of information since the aircraft was first reported missing. 64% of the passengers were Chinese nationals, and their government is about as transparent as the Luxembourg bank manager's copy of Jeffrey Archer's biography of his double glazing salesman.
Cecil was one of Africa's best-known lions.
I'm not so sure. It's time for a Newsball's Top 5. Top 5 lions of all time. At 5, Cowardly. 4, Aslan. At 3, it's Simba. And at 2, the only top 5 list Detroit's ever going to make. And at number 1, the Red. Lovely pies.
Conservationists and police say he was lured out of a national park and killed by an American hunter, alleging it's this man, Dr. Walter Palmer.
Oh, a doctor. Well, maybe he's one of those sort of noble Victorian zoologist types.
An avid trophy hunter in his 50s and a dentist from Minnesota.
Or maybe not. Is there anything more pathetic than a balding, rich white man desperately trying to assert his diminishing masculinity? Why doesn't he just play golf or have happy finish massages with trafficked Ukrainian girls called Anastasia?
In a statement, Palmer admits to killing Cecil, but he says he didn't know the lion's significance.
I know it's wrong, I just didn't think anyone would care. It's like killing a nonce in prison. It's basically acceptable, isn't it? And look at his statement. A politician would be proud of this piece of work. See how many verbal barriers he puts up, distancing himself from what he actually did. From I to lion, there's regret, pursuit, activity, love, practice, responsibly, legally. Just be honest. I shot a lion in the face because it makes my dick hard.
Cecil's killing has sparked outrage on social media.
Holy shit, the one thing you do not want to piss social media off with is cruelty to cats. Remember Cat in Bin Lady? Or the cretin that threw the cat off the tower block roof in Birmingham? They had to go into the kind of witness protection program that's solely reserved for people that testify against the mafia.
Should trophy hunting be a crime?
This is murder. It's really cold bloods killing a creature that cannot defend. Because if she can defend, then okay, we are equal.
Well, not really. If I give you a lump hammer, then I bludgeon you to death with my lump hammer. It's not really fair, is it? There is a serious point. Trophy hunting. Is it justified or necessary? But credit to Zimbabwe seeking justice for that poor lion. It's good to see they've got their priorities in order.
And can you feel the love tonight? How it's laid to rest. It's enough to make kings and...
On his deathbed almost 9 years ago, Alexander Litvinenko had been tricked into drinking tea laced with the radioactive poison polonium.
Wow. I think Waddingtons are going to have to relaunch a 21st century version of Cluedo. It's no longer Professor Plum in the library with a lead pipe. It's now the KGB in the hotel lobby with the polonium tea, or the radicalised jihadist on the tube with the backpack, or the neo-fascist in the school with the legally purchased rifle.
These are the prime suspects, Dmitry Kovtun and Andrei Lugovoy.
Yep, they're the alleged perps. Not exactly Bond villain material. They look more like a Radio 5 Live reporter and his part-time coke-dealing, people-smuggling friend. What do you want? You want coke? You want girls? You want girls with coke? I get for you.
But they are in Moscow and have no intention of returning to the UK.
So anyone going on about this is just a windbag having a massive dry wank.
No matter how many state honours Putin may pin to Lugovoy's chest for services to the motherland, however meteoric Lugovoy's rise in politics has been...
Yeah, you talk a good game when the bully's not in the room.
The final poisoning took place in this Mayfair hotel, where Kovtun and Lugovoy are accused of pouring polonium into a teapot as they waited for Alexander Litvinenko.
Now then, who's for tea?
Taxi drivers in Mexico came out to protest against popular taxi service Uber on the 29th of July, accusing the company of stealing their business.
Uber. To some, they're innovators leading a digital revolution in the service exchange interface, and to others, they're nothing more than e-pirates giving a jolly good rogering to law-abiding competitors.
The protests came just one day after various Uber vehicles were violently attacked by a group of armed men in Mexico City.
Okay, that is a little extreme. However, taxi drivers worldwide have to contend with licence fees, levies and taxes, whereas Uber, using internet skullduggery, skirt around all of those obstacles and obviously can charge much less than the regulated taxis. Yeah, but this is the future, it's a dynamic business model, it's innovative. No, it's cheating. Okay, Lance Armstrong won all those Tour de France because he was ingenious and innovative, not because he was doped off his bollock.
Former Top Gear presenters Jeremy Clarkson, James May and Richard Hammond have signed a 3-series deal with Amazon Prime to host a new automotive series.
Will it be new, or will it be like every episode of Top Gear that's been recorded in the last 10 years? For those of you that can't be asked to fork out for Amazon Prime, here's what it's going to be like in under 90 seconds. Hello, it's me, everyone's second favourite arsehole. Don't be alarmed, I know I've got a head shaped like a prize-winning marrow at Village Fate, and I'm dressed like someone who's being housed at an earthquake relief centre, but I am a professional, just as my producer. This week, like all the others, I'll dick around in a car that costs as much as your 4-bedroom detached house, gurning like a masturbating bonobo chimp, only with less poise. Then my anonymous gimp will drive it around faster than me, and we'll time it and half-heartedly make out that it's somehow interesting or significant. Then we all sit around like it's loose women, only more blokey, because we're all dead blokey. Fwah, boobs, farts, grr, reactionary opinions. I'm the shouty gobshite one, there's a boring one, and a weaselly little lickspittle who's primarily there for the housewife demographic and my own amusement. Then it's time for the boring one, or the weasel, to drive around for a bit as well. The boring one is boring, but the weasel is like a mini-me. He's not got the panache of the original, he's a rather tragic, pathetic-looking pastiche of something vulgar that's lacking the conviction in its bravado to be pulled off properly. It's like a glitzy American-style casino, but in a retail park near Bolton, sandwiched between a Pets at Home and a Pound World. Oh, and then it's my turn to do some brown nose, and usually a visibly jet-lagged celebrity on the promotional circuit. Oh, I like your film or your book or your show, whatever. Some blokey banter, some leering, gender-specific of course. I'm not a big shirt lifter like that boring one. And finally, some blokey escapades with us blokey blokes. Aren't we mad? Look at the chaos and hijinks we get up to. It's as contrived as a prostitute smile, and as spontaneous and natural as a corporate tea-building exercise. See you next week. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Catch a producer by his toe. If he squeals, punch the in the face.
The three have been scouting for a new home since Clarkson was dropped from Top Gear in March by state broadcaster the BBC after he struck a producer and subjected him to a sustained verbal attack. Amazon beat out Netflix and major broadcasters in the bidding for the group's new show. Vice President of Amazon Prime Video EU, Jay Marine, said, "Customers told us they wanted to see the team back on screen and we are excited to make that happen." BBC has said Top Gear has a global audience of 350 million.
Joking aside, Top Gear was an extremely popular show, and it did have its funny moments. But surely it's plain to see that Clarkson, forget the other two, they're pilot fish, shot his creative wad a while back. So all Amazon Prime is going to get is a half-assed thumbing in. Or worse still, now they don't have the ridiculous PC Aunt B reining them in, it's just going to be a fucking cross between Dukes of Hazzard and Love Thy Neighbour.
Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm.
I wish to make a complaint against the Nicknock.
Fighting the system like a true modern-day Robin Hood.
Don't tell me, but I've got a feeling it's gonna be black.
Of course it is. And his soul was black with sin.
Morrissey claims he was sexually assaulted by a security officer who grabbed his genitals after a routine security check at the San Francisco airport on July 27th, according to a post from the musician on True to You. The incident reportedly took place around 2:30 p.m. after Morrissey had finished regular security procedure without problem and was gathering his belongings. "I was approached by an airport security officer who stopped me, crouched before me, and groped my penis and testicles," Morrissey wrote. But first, Morrissey confronted the officer, identified only as the general manager on duty, who responded to his accusations with, "That's just your opinion."
Yes. Well, I think it's been a very personal journey. Some people say it hasn't. Some people say it's full of mystery, but I don't think it is. I think it's very open.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
And that's your lot from Newsballs. I might see you next week. In the meantime,